Most people that get into insurance, they don't plan to go into insurance. It kind of happens to you. You learn your business very well when you do every single point of that business. I've gotten to a point where I've built a team that I respect. You have to hire people that are better than you. You got to try and do the right steps to set yourself up for success, but you're going to paralyze yourself if you just sit and wait and wait and wait and wait.
Welcome to Chiseled for Success, the podcast where we share the real stories behind success, the stories of growth, grit, and the moments that shape who we become. I'm Monica, your host, a lover of continuous improvement and the never-ending journey of excellence, a lifelong learner, and a big believer that success isn't something we stumble into, it is something we are shaped by. Today, I'm really excited to introduce to you a very special guest, Jason Stendalen. Jason and I have actually known each other for years in many different paths of life. And what I'm so excited to share with you is that Jason has a true story of resilience, pivoting, lots of different points in his journey. And today he sits in front of us as the owner of 5 businesses, a father, a husband, and a great community contributor. Jason, thanks for being here with us today.
Wow, that's quite the intro. Thanks for having me here, Monica. Gosh, I'm flattered. So I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, I am too. How are you feeling today?
I feel really good today, actually. It's been some challenges recently, but I feel like I'm kind of getting things figured out and making some strategic moves to better some of the businesses that, really drive who I am, and putting really what one of the most important things to me is putting the proper team in place, so that these businesses continue to be successful for many years to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And if you were to meet someone today, we have someone watching our podcast that doesn't know Jason.
Yeah.
What would you want them to know about you?
I just think that I admire people that find their passion early in life, right? That find something that they're just like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, that, I just know that this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. That was not my situation. What I thought, I was going to do for my life, my career, I did for about 10 years and decided this is not at all what I want. And I definitely went through a lot of challenges, different careers, different things that I just tried. And just, it took me a long time to really find something that I was passionate about. So I think the big thing is everyone's journey is different. I think most importantly, I think people need to not get hung up on a specific thing. If you're not happy or you don't enjoy what you're doing, then I highly encourage you to find something that you are passionate about or that you do enjoy doing, because that makes working a lot or working very hard towards making that a career much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes that I think is said very often is, as a human being, we're not a tree. You can just move.
Yeah.
if you need to take a move and pivot. So you definitely bring a lot of heart to your relationships as well. You are extremely humble and you are a natural connector. How does that show up? What's inside of you that shows up?
I don't know if it was my upbringing or just the people I hang out with, but I just really, truly care about people. I think so much of it gets lost today. Everybody wants instant connections. They want instant gratification. They want immediate responses, right?
Yeah.
Like, I get emotional talking about it, but I think everyone loses sight of personal connections. And that's very important.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the authenticity that you're sharing right now. And I will tell you, our guests need to hear the story that my mom and I used to go to the gym in the morning and
Yeah.
and we
No.
used to see you there, and
Yeah.
you always took time to say good morning to us. And years later, when we weren't there, I think you moved as well, but
Yeah.
you were like, how is your mom? And that
Yeah.
was always like super touching, that
Yeah.
you cared about someone so much in my life that I care about. So
Yeah. I think the golden rule is something that I hold very true. And I think that's super important to just treat people with respect,
yeah,
um, and just be honest with people.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Kindness, respect, and directness can always come together. It's quite
yeah.
the mix, but that
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
You have just a fascinating journey, and I would love to kind of have you think back to maybe a starting point where I like to say on this podcast, it kind of just seemed like a rough block, like a structure
Yeah.
that you're like taking something that you just talked about. You love that about other people,
Yeah.
that they have a vision.
Yeah.
Tell us about that block in your life that you started with and a vision that you had to chisel away at that block.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said earlier, I just struggled to find something that I really enjoyed or was passionate about. I went to school for electronics and I worked in repairs and fixing stuff for years. And I still to this day love working with my hands. And I love to see that physical progress and achievement of what's been accomplished after working hard on something physically all day. And then I transitioned into more of a sales role where you could work on paperwork and push papers and do stuff in email and communication for months at a time, and nothing would ever come to fruition. And so you just never really had anything to account for all that time and effort that you had put in. And then, finally, after years of, being successful in sales and doing stuff, I basically got let go when the construction market kind of crashed in '08. And I was just like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
Luckily, my wife was very supportive. She had owned her own business for, close to probably 20 years at that point. And, basically she's like, maybe you need to do your own thing. Maybe you need to just find something else. Right. And so I just really pursued more of a residual income. I was always never afraid to work hard. Always worked multiple jobs growing up. I was always very financially motivated to reach my goals. And so there wasn't much that would slow me down. But every year when you'd have a very successful year, I really wanted to capitalize on that year after year. And so that's when I found insurance. And, most people that get into insurance, they don't plan to go into insurance. It kind of happens to you. And then you kind of fall in love with it. And you're like, man, I wish I would have started this much earlier in my career. So yeah, it was a roundabout way to kind of get there, but
Yeah.
I was glad that I found it.
Great.
Yeah.
When you started that, and you're talking about now, your wife's name is Abby,
Yeah.
correct? Great to hear that she inspired you to take this journey.
Yeah.
I can relate. My husband did that as well. What would you have said then was your definition of success?
Back, I guess when I originally started, to me, success was, a hefty bank account, making a certain amount of income.
Yeah.
That's really what motivated me. And that's changed over the years. Now, the money is nice, but really I've grown to appreciate a team and a successful business with a good reputation. So,
Yeah, good. Great.
yeah.
So getting there,
Yeah.
the team and the respectful business, good reputation, I'm guessing there was some things along the way that you had some really good learnings. So talk to us about kind of maybe some of those points where you needed to chisel away at some things that weren't working within your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think growth and change is always good for everyone. I think the world is ever changing, right? And in our industry, especially on the insurance side, things are always changing. I started working for other people. I started with my own agency with Farmers Insurance, and then I switched to the independent side and worked for various different agencies and learned different processes and kind of different approaches to businesses. And I learned what I did like and what I didn't like
Yeah.
about the industry. And then I got to a point where, further along in my career, I just was so frustrated with how the clients or prospects were treated that I'm just like, I'm just done. It was that pivotal moment where I just said, I'm either going to be done with this industry or I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm really going to change the approach to how things are handled and how clients are treated. And so that's when my wife was very supportive of me just stepping outside the box, taking a leap of faith and just jumping in and just doing it. And the first couple of years were rough. I mean, I did everything by myself, no support, no staff. And so you learn your business very well when you do every single point of that business. And I think that's very important for a business owner to understand every aspect of their business. So I learned exactly what worked well for me, what worked well for my clients, or what I thought worked well for my clients. And then as I grew, I started building a team. I merged with another gentleman, which I eventually ended up buying him out. So I went from sole owner to business partner to sole owner again. And now I've gotten to a point where I've just really built a team that I respect. So it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So taking the steps of solopreneur partnership back to business owner, I would say that's where you get to entrepreneurship, is when you have the team around you. Thinking about the identity and what those different seasons felt like. You talked about, so there was some rough patches in there. So let's kind of go back to solopreneur world, getting started. You talked about learning. What were some highlights of that season that really stick out for you as
I think the highlights, I think just owning my own thing was the highlight, right? To be on my own, to do my own thing, to continually see success and growth. And then to get to a point where, man, I need to bring in help. Now, I was approached about merging with a gentleman. And so I'm not saying that it was all peaches and cream, that there's no downside, because I think there's this misconception that business ownership is this amazing thing, that it offers tons of freedom, that there's not any financial struggles. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. So, you just got to stick to it. I mean, those first couple years are so hard, but if you can get it through, it's awesome.
Yeah. I actually smile because there are so many misperceptions, of starting your own business, and it's like you become your own boss, and then you really get a lens into how are you.
It's funny, right? Because I think some of us can be a good boss, but some of us maybe aren't the best at being a boss, even to ourselves, right? And it's funny because COVID happened when I was kind of getting up and running, just a few years in, and to be at home, I knew that this was not good for me. I am not a productive person working from home. And I'm like, I have to be in the office. I need to separate work from personal, and I can't be distracted. So for me, that I learned very quickly that I am not a productive at-home employee.
Self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
So how did you learn discipline? Like, what would you say are some ways that you learned it and stuck with it?
I think you're just forced into it when you don't have the support, when every client call, when every quote, when every process is reliant on you, it either gets done or it falls through the cracks. And the last thing I want to do is let somebody down. So, I didn't have a choice. So, like I said, things were thin those first couple years. There was no vacations. There was no time off. It was working late nights and early mornings, and networking, getting out, getting your name out there, and just following through, doing a good job.
Yeah. When you talk about the finances, one of the surprising factors for me, I get to see a lot of business financials, is there's people that are shooting for 40% net operating income, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, actually, your industry is about 5%,
Yeah.
right? And so there's this reality of people just really, it's offered me a new lens into the actual profitability that people
Yeah.
are experiencing. And I think to your point, that's where entrepreneurship is absolutely something bigger in the team. So talk to me about building a team. Again, I love your heart, and I want to hear about you putting a team together.
I think my skills are in a certain area, but you have to hire people that are better than you to help you grow. You know, there's always going to be someone better than you at something.
Yeah.
And so I think going into it, realizing that hiring people better than you is only going to make you better and make your business better.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's emotional. Cause like this is the first time where I feel like everything is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a wonderful feeling.
Yeah.
And what is someone better at? What's something someone's better at that you're not really good at? Let's share that insight. What's something Jason's not good at that you've acknowledged?
Time management, at times. I am not overly sympathetic at times, which I know is a downside. So yeah, I think the softness sometimes, I think getting back to this chiseled thing, you kind of get some hard edges,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Somebody to soften those up is good.
Yeah.
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 I think about time management. It's always something that is a opportunity for most people because
Yeah.
here's the reality, and it's
Yeah.
like of course moment. We can never manage time, right? That clock is
You can never
ticking.
get more of it.
You can never get more of
Yeah.
it. And actually everybody has the same amount. So
Yeah.
then you start to learn it is about like the self-management and or the delegation or
Yes.
chiseling away the things that really aren't good use of your time. And so there's always opportunities with time.
There's opportunities,
Yeah.
but I think especially running multiple businesses, it's where do you shift, and that was one of my biggest struggles was delegating stuff to other people. Having started handling everything from the start, it was very hard for me to pass things off or trust that things were going to be done to my standards.
Yeah.
And so again, it comes back to building a team that you can trust, that you know that things are going to get handled and get done to your standards or expectations is super important to kind of relieve some of that stress and ease up some of that time for you to shift gears and do the things that are more important or that you enjoy doing. Because for me, running, billing or processing stuff, like that's not really where my time is well spent. So finding the team and people to do that is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about the trust and having that be, you sounding like you're supporting people and then they start to show you that they can do the work and there's like this trust built and then the delegation. So when you had a level up experience of delegating, what changed within you? Who did you have to be when you said, you know what, someone else can do this better?
I don't know if it comes with age or experience or where that came from. I don't know what the pivot point was or what the shift was. I think it started with, one good employee that I trusted, where you start slowly giving them things where they prove themselves. And then as more people come in, they prove themselves. And it's funny with my team, I am very open, brutally honest.
Yeah.
And I say, I spend more time with you guys than I do my own family. And so, sorry. That's why that team is so important.
Yeah. And what about the team? And Jason, thank you for sharing your emotions. What are you so proud of the team for? What are some things that they have just knocked out of the park for you?
I think the biggest struggle is, like I said, it's been a journey.
I guess coming up on 9 years of building a business, and this is the first time where I have the right team in place.
Yeah.
And you ask what makes the great team is they're just good people. They care. Um, they do the right thing. Um, I can trust that they have my back, and I always have their back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just no questions. Like that's I can't tell you how important that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I'm out running appointments, or a client calls in, or whatever that is, I just know that they've got it, that they've got it under control. And to have the confidence in those people that support me,
Mm-hmm.
that's priceless. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the best thing. So, um, man, can't believe I'm getting this emotional, but,
Yeah.
I the team is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So,
I want you to take credit for that team.
yeah,
That does not happen without a good leader, without someone who believes in them,
yeah.
someone who lifts them up, someone that gives them that space to grow. I'm sure there's been some pretty silly mistakes made by ourselves,
Everyone,
the
yeah.
team
We all
members.
make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you offer grace to mistakes? How do you?
Um, I mean, and this is just my philosophy. I'm not one to micromanage. I want to trust my employees, my team, that if they say they're going to do something, that I expect that it's going to be done. I don't want to stand over your shoulder. I don't want to monitor that. I don't want to double check your work every minute of the day. Like that's not effective use of my time. It's not effective use of anyone's time.
Mhm.
So do we make mistakes? Yes, absolutely. We all make mistakes, but typically, I would say, especially in my world, I find that people are more hard on themselves
Mhm.
than I will ever be.
Mhm.
So I let them kind of beat themselves up, and I say, okay, what do we learn?
Yeah.
What do we change moving forward? How do we fix it so we don't repeat that same issue?
Yeah.
And so I think most people are, if they value and appreciate their job and they want to do a good job, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have learned, and I'm a big believer in, there's the other side of everything, right? And so I believe, I've said this a couple times, is, what is the message in the mess? Like what can we learn from this? And so definitely. So tell me about some things that you are celebrating. Like I absolutely want you to share with people, like, what does this look like today? I mean, what you probably have a new definition of success than money in the bank. I mean, you
Yeah.
talked about team and people,
Yeah.
but what does this look like today for you?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think everyone gets so hung up on the finance side of things. And I think truly, if you just help people and do a good job and enjoy what you do, the success and finances will come, Man, I guess what I'm celebrating right now is just being in a great place, for the first time, like in a long time. So
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah.
really good. Like,
Yeah.
in one of my other businesses, I've got an office manager that just handles the business. Like I go there like 1.5 days a week, and, if I'm not there, she's like, it's cool. I got it. It's just so nice to have that support and people to just handle things. And, it frees me up to do what I need to do. So
Yeah.
again, it boils down to the people. And I don't care if that's your employees or your clients or whatever it is. Like, that's the most important part, because I don't care what you're selling, if it's insurance or whatever it is, clothes, or I don't care what it is. It's just stuff, right? It's stuff.
Yeah.
The people are the important part. And
Right.
that's, take care of them and the rest will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really fortunate to spend majority of my career with a company that had a structure of 4 key results,
Yeah.
and they were keeping our patients and each other safe,
Yeah.
people focused,
Yeah.
right? Patient experience,
Yeah.
people focused, employee experience, people focused, and the last one was meeting the annual business plan. And
Right.
we had
Yeah.
a conversation
Yeah.
every day about if those first 3 aren't in, or if those first 3 aren't being successful, the last one won't be. And
Right.
so definitely, you always got to go back the people piece, and that's one
Yeah.
thing that I love as well, is that this idea of putting people with good systems in place and good leadership and good management. And so when you talked about you had to know everything in your business, it sets those people up for success, because
Yeah.
now you get to show them how to do it, and
Yeah.
you've done that. So
Yeah.
good. So today, if someone is questioning, like, what do I need to do? I'm stuck, right? Who know, maybe they're in a solopreneur getting started out. Maybe they feel like it's the end of the road. Maybe they're in a partnership
Yeah.
that they've got to pivot.
Yeah.
Maybe they have 5 businesses and it's feeling like a lot. What is some advice that you would give to that person?
Talk it out. Talk it out.
Yeah.
Find people that you trust that, will be honest, brutally honest with you, right? Whether that's a coach, whether that's personal friend, whether you have to find people that are going to give you honest responses. And sometimes those aren't the answers you want to hear, but sometimes that's what you need to hear. And I think just finding a group of people, or even just one person that you can use as a sounding board that's going to give you honest answers,
Yeah.
is sometimes the most important.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we go through life waiting for the right time. And I asked my dad, when we were thinking about starting a family, and he goes, I said to my dad, I go, I'm just not financially ready to have a kid. And he goes, if you wait till you're financially ready, you'll never have a kid, because guess what? You'll just never get there. And sometimes you just got to pull the trigger and you're going to figure it out. And I think that rings true in starting a business or whatever it is. You got to try and do the right steps to set yourself up for success, but you're going to paralyze yourself if you just sit and wait and wait and wait and wait. And then it's too late.
That's great. The idea of just talking it out, get it out, right? We are
Yeah.
always saying, get it out of your head. And then definitely being vulnerable to other people helping.
And
giving
being
some
honest, right? I think especially as men, like I've been very emotional, but I think a lot of men, like we're just taught to be hard and unemotional, and don't show emotion. And I think it's important to just have someone that you feel comfortable, letting loose, like sharing those fears, maybe. I think if you're not scared going into starting a business or doing something completely outside the box, you're probably not in the right mindset, because you probably should have some fear making a major change. If you're making major steps, that should scare you, right? And that's a good motivating factor. Use that fear to drive you to succeed, right? But I mean, making major changes, there should be some fear, I think, in inside you, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I love to share, fear. I sometimes remind myself it's false expectations appearing real, because we don't even know. It hasn't happened yet. So you might as well go figure it out if it's going to happen or not.
Right.
So lean in.
Yes, that's very good.
Yeah. So Jason, it was just, my heart is so full that you came today and chatted with us and just shared some really great pointers, but so authentically from where you have been. So you have absolutely inspired me, and today you've even inspired me more. And so thank you for being here and sharing your story with us.